Welcome to Amanda Hall Psychic here on Moonstruck TV and A1R Psychic Radio. It's been a really interesting week around the world. I know that many people have had public holidays and been out enjoying the sun. You know, spare a little thought for us here in Australia as we're shivering through winter, but, you know, we can't complain, I suppose. I mean, we all have to have a change of the seasons. I just can't help it that I'm a summer baby and I like the warmth. But, you know, that's the way it is. Maybe I need to migrate north during the winter. Okay, so this week's Simply Tarot card of the week is the Lover's card. Now, this is one of those cards that when I used to do a lot of teaching, people used to go, oh, and ah, and this is exciting. And I used to remind them that we don't always have a new lover coming into our lives just because we have the Lover's card or we've drawn the Lover's card for the week. The Lover's card does mean love affairs. It can mean romance building again within a marriage. And when I use the word marriage, I mean legalised piece of paper marriage. Relationships or loving relationships you share with a friend. Now, we can have lots of different types of loving relationships that don't involve a physical relationship. We can really just sort of enjoy being with someone, enjoy their company. It could be a loving relationship we share with a sister or a brother or a neighbour, or just a close friend, but it doesn't necessarily mean we are in a love affair. We just share a loving relationship with those people. So bear in mind the next time the Lover's card comes out in your reading that it may not mean a new romance for you unless you're particularly looking for romance. It may just be indicating that there's a lot of loving energy around you at the moment and you should enjoy that and enjoy what that brings into your life. Now, it's really interesting. Before we get into the astrology section, a lot of people have been asking me to explain what a solstice is. Now, I'm not a great expert on what solstices are. In astrology terms, it just means a changing of the hemispheres of, you know, going from the light to the dark or the dark to the light. So in the northern hemisphere at the moment, you're experiencing what's known as the summer solstice. Now, this is the time when we celebrate all that's new in your life, that it's the longest day of the year. You're celebrating the light, the bounty of the harvest that you've had previously in the spring and before the summer. And it's a time of celebration, of going out, partying, enjoying yourself, gathering of people in public places, and really just celebrating everything that's good in your life and the warmth and the sunshine and the light. But it also symbolises for the Northern Hemisphere that because it is the longest day of the year, after today, every day will get marginally shorter. So it's time to start thinking about preparing for the fall or the autumn that's coming and your winter months. So in olden times when we had to forage for food and we had to make preparation for those times, it was a time when your thinking started to turn in the next few days to gathering and storing of food stores ready for those colder months and the time when there would be less daylight in your lives. For us here in the Southern Hemisphere, we are experiencing the winter solstice. So this means we've just experienced or about to experience our coldest and our shortest day of the year. So for us, we're still sort of hunkering down, sort of enjoying, I suppose, the fruits of our labours, that, you know, the things that we stored away, the things that we squirreled away, ready for the colder months and, you know, spending more time indoors. So we now get to look forward to the days getting a little bit longer and hopefully a little bit warmer as we head towards our spring, which will be our harvest, and then moving into our summer months, which towards the end of the year. So it is a very enlightening time because it's a time, it's almost like a changing of the guard. For some people, they sort of feel really very much more energised after a solstice, whether it's the summer or the winter solstice. It's sort of like the halfway point in a year that you start to think about what you've already achieved this year, what you would also like to achieve in the remaining 6 months of the year. It usually coincides with the changing of an astrological sign. At the moment, the sun has just gone into Cancer. So it's the first day of the Cancer month, which is wonderful. So if you're feeling a little bit teary, that may very well be because the sun's just gone back into Cancer. And sometimes that does bring up emotions, and emotions very close to the surface that we didn't realise that we were harbouring or nursing, and all of a sudden they come flowing out. For other people, it's a time regardless of your star sign, where you feel more connected to your home, where you want to spend a little bit more time at home or a little bit more time at home, improving your home and making your nest feel more secure. Some people find it's a time when they really want to gather the family around and have a few big family events or spend time in the kitchen whipping up some beautiful delights to eat, to share with family and friends. For whatever reason, however the Cancer time of the year affects you, enjoy it. It's a time when we can be a little bit self-indulgent. It's a time where I know a lot of my Cancerian friends believe chocolate is part of the 5 food groups and they can't function unless they have at least 1 or 2 pieces of chocolate a day. It's good for their soul. That doesn't mean a whole block. It means 1 or 2 pieces. So, if you find that your tooth is becoming a little bit sweeter this month, that may very well be the reason. That isn't a reason, though, to overindulge. It's a time to say, yes, reward ourselves with small treats, but not big treats. It's also a time when I think we can get in touch more with our emotions. It's a time of the year too that I find that our dearly beloved people that have departed the planet quite often seem to visit more. I have never been able to work out why, other than maybe because they feel the loving energy of the Cancer energy in the family environment, that they feel that sort of they're still family and they're going to pop in for a little visit or a little message or just to say I'm here. So don't be surprised if you get more symbolism around finding a feather or your favourite song coming on the radio that reminds you of somebody that's gone. All those little symbols will be there. So just watch out for them. So with the sun in Cancer, it's a positive time of the year, I think, where we can all get in touch more with our inner selves and sort of feel more secure. So happy birthday to all the Cancerians. And I know our producer is a Cancerian and his birthday will be coming up shortly. So happy birthday to all the Cancers. We have Mercury, the planet of communication, is still sitting in Gemini. So communication at the moment is really important for all of us. For some people, they're finding that their mouths are opening and things are tumbling out before they've even had time to think about it. And they think, oh, well, I've said it anyway, so what? That must be the way that it's meant to be. So just be aware that sometimes things might come out that you mightn't have been ready to share with everybody else, but, okay, they're there, so now we've got to run with it. So that will be happening for the next couple of weeks. But on the flip side of that, it can also mean that we can get some brilliant ideas. There's ideas are flowing thick and fast, so make sure that you have some sort of device to be able to record your brain waves, or pen and paper if you're like me, you like to carry a notebook with you and sort of jot ideas down. Whatever way you want to record them, make sure that you put them down so that you can go back and revisit them and sort of expand on the brainwaves or the light bulb moments that you had. We have the planet Uranus, which is one of the outer planets, which is not what's considered a personal planet, is still playing havoc or sort of really sort of trying to bring about change in our lives. Uranus is the planet of the unusual and the unexpected. Uranus likes to come in and sort of shake everything up very, very quickly. And sometimes it can be seen as destructive. Most of the time it's just very sudden, definite and deliberate. And usually it's something we've already sent out to the universe. It just didn't manifest maybe quite in the way that we would have liked it to. But that's sometimes we've got to be careful that we do send things out in haste or in frustration and we didn't quite really mean it. And the universe has picked up on it and said, oh, well, they were pretty fiery about that. They must really want it, so we'll make it happen quicker. So be very careful what you send out to the universe or what you voice out aloud, because the universe is listening and the universe does like to make us happy, even if it's not quite what we wanted, but what they thought it was. So Uranus is actually conjunct or holding hands the North Node. Now, the North Node is not a planet. The North Node is connected to the moon. Now, this is where we're trying to aspire or reach to the top of the tree. We're trying to really aim for something sort of higher in our lives, something that's really going to bring us great joy. So for the moment, could be some really great opportunities that could happen for any sign that could come out of left of field, could come out of nowhere, that we only have a very small window of opportunity to say, yes, I'm going to run with it. Yes, that really suits me. That's great. I think I'll hop on board with that. If you procrastinate, it'll be one of those times where you will lose the opportunity because there's only a very short window to say yes and run with it. That's not giving you a license to say yes to everything. It has to really, really super duper feel right for you. That, when it hits you or when the opportunity lands in your lap and you think, wow, this is what I've been waiting for. yes, I will go with it. If there's any slight hesitation or any sort of stumble, then the answer is no, this is not for you. So be very, very careful of that. Sometimes people misinterpret what I say when I say there's a golden opportunity coming, and they think every opportunity that comes along is golden. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying if it's really super duper feels right for you and you don't have any hesitation, any doubt, any stumble, any second thought, then it is right. But if there's any of those things, it's not right for you. We still have Neptune, the planet of illusion and delusion and creativity, still sitting in Pisces, and Neptune rules Pisces. So all our darling little Pisceans are still feeling very, very connected to themselves, feeling very comfortable in their own skin, feeling that finally the light is shining on them and people are seeing them for who they truly are. And it is quite a magical time for them. It's something that they've waited a very, very long time for. And I think generally a lot of other people around the world are starting to see the depth and the talent that Piscean people have. Quite often they're very misunderstood, where people tend to turn around and think of them as being two fish chasing their tails and they never achieve anything. Nothing could be further from the truth. They're constantly busy, yes, and their minds are constantly busy creating, fantasizing, thinking about, looking for another solution, that they never really sit still and sort of rest on their laurels. They're always searching and seeking out something new, or maybe a better way of handling a situation or a new solution. So they actually, in my opinion, one of the most powerful signs of the zodiac. And a lot of astrologers affectionately refer to the sign of Pisces as the dustbin. I've never done that, because I believe the sign of Pisces collectively has the power, the intelligence, the knowledge and the wisdom of the previous 11 signs. So to me, it sort of almost makes them king of the castle, because they have so much power, they have so much wisdom and things that they've amassed through many lifetimes, that they sit there in this position of not being know-it-alls, but gently sort of trying to encourage or persuade us to reach our full potential. So if you're fortunate enough to have a Pisces in your life, you're very, very lucky, because they are really incredibly talented people who truly do want to just help us bring out the best in our lives. We have Mars, the planet of action, is still sitting in Aries. Now, Mars rules Aries, so, of course, Mars feels very comfortable there. But also, to me, it symbolises not just for Aries people, where they've got new opportunities and they can make anything happen at the moment. It's like make hay while the sun shines, Aries, because, it's not going to get any better than this, with your own ruling planet there pushing you along and asking you to strive and achieve better things. But for the rest of us mere mortals, it's a time when I think we can really sort of look at our lives and ask ourselves, what is it that we can put a little bit of extra effort into? Is there an area of life that's been sadly lacking? Is there something that we've been ignoring? Is there something that we've been going to get around to doing and we've never started it? Well, now's the perfect time to be starting something like that and to looking towards something different in our lives. It's a time of great enthusiasm. It's also a time that I think we can have some breakthroughs. Mars has the ability on a worldwide stage to push things through like never before. Maybe we'll get some breakthroughs with some of the crises that are going on around the world. Maybe we'll get some breakthroughs on global warming, where people will finally start and sit up and take notice and start to look at, the planet is screaming out and saying, hang on a minute, I've had enough. You've got to start making some changes. Maybe we'll see an end to the war in Ukraine. Wouldn't that be a blessing? Maybe we'll start to see people start to grow a brain and start to look at that we've got to protect our children more, that we really do have to sort of make modifications and changes in society that do protect our children from harm and, violence and guns and things like that. There's many, many areas that Mars in Aries could be working on at the moment that we're not just quite seeing yet, that hasn't sort of materialised. But on a personal level, if you're in Aries, make hay while the sun shines, because it doesn't happen very often that you get this opportunity to have your own sign pushing you along, guiding you and sort of giving you the inspiration to get out there and make your life better. It's also a time where we've still got Pluto sitting in Capricorn. We'll be there till the end of 2024. So we're starting to see things that we should have been doing, or the lessons that we should have learnt since Pluto's been in Capricorn since 2009. We're starting to see, again, mortgage stress around the world. We're starting to see people that maybe have overcommitted themselves are now sort of looking at making changes. We're seeing the world run away with itself with inflation and house prices, and wages aren't keeping up and all these sort of things. So there's a lot of unrest going on again. Now, if we look back in history, and not that far back in history, where we look at the global financial crisis and how things changed in a split second, and, the world became a very different place and we had to look at conducting business in a different way. I'm just concerned that, did we learn enough lessons then when Pluto gave us a bit of a slap around the ears then and said, you've got to start making some changes, you've got to start looking at things differently and start handling the world differently? Did we learn enough lessons then? Or is this Pluto's way of giving us one final lesson, saying, well, you didn't learn enough then, you're going to learn now. So, open your eyes up and start to sort of look at the changes that are needed. And in that, I want to bring in global warming, because I do believe that we've ignored it and danced around the issue for far too long, that we're now reaping the consequences for that. That, we've got weather patterns that are abnormal. People are saying the coldest winter, the most rain, the biggest floods, the biggest bushfires, whatever. We need to start addressing these problems. We are running out of time. It's not something we can sit on our hands for. We still have the planet Saturn sitting in Aquarius. Now, Saturn is the planet of discipline. Saturn sort of turns around and is a little bit like waves a big stick and says you're going to, start behaving yourself and do things in a more logical, practical, down-to-earth manner. With Saturn still sitting in Aquarius, it's still asking us to research and look for different ideas, different solutions, different ways of looking at how we can bring changes into our lives, because we have the ability to think outside the square. So it's going to be a very, very busy time for most people as we start to sort of reorganise our lives in our new normal as we come out of the pandemic. We're going to talk with Bonita now in Hubbards, Nova Scotia in Canada. Are you there, Bonita?
Yes, I am. Thank you for taking my call.
You're very welcome, sweetie. Do you have a question I can answer for you?
Yes. I just wanted to say, well, I'm a widow. I'm doing fine on my own, except getting very lonely, and would love to know if I will need a loving partner in the near future.
That's a very good question, Bonita. I don't believe we're designed to walk around in ones. We all function so much better if we're in a loving, nurturing relationship. It just gives us a different edge that, we can cope with more things, that we put a prettier face on for the world and things like that. So, yes, I think it is time. I think you've done all your soul searching, you've done all your analysing and working out why the previous situation came to the conclusion that it did. And it's not necessarily placing all the blame at their feet or placing all the blame at your feet. You've sort of analysed and worked through it. You've now become, I think, a different sort of person, Bonita. You know exactly now what it is that you want and what you expect out of a relationship. You also know what are the deal breakers now. And that's really important too, because I think when we're much younger, I think we pretty much accept anything, and we have this illusion that we can make anything right if we just, give it enough love or give it enough attention or whatever. But as we become more mature, we start to realise that our needs need to be met, and that, some things are a deal breaker, that, if we can't agree on something that's really major, then the relationship doesn't have a lot of hope. Now, having said that, I do believe you're going to meet somebody new, and I don't think it's that far away. They're showing me late July, early August, and I'm going to say a tall, dark-headed man. He's got a moustache, but I'm not sure whether he's got a moustache when you meet him or he's just shaved it off. Sometimes they show me to him with a moustache, and sometimes they show me to him without one. But I get him as being a very, very nice man. What, sweetie?
Mm-hmm.
He's a very nice man. I feel he hasn't been in a relationship for some time, and that's been by choice, because he felt he needed to give himself time to sort of sort out who he was and what he wanted. So you're both coming from the same place, which is good. I think it's going to be a sudden relationship where I think you'll be out at some outdoor event with some friends, not expecting to meet anybody. You've just gone to something that's in an outdoorsy thing, like, gone to a fair or something like that, or an agricultural show or something like that, something that you don't normally attend. And it's like they've asked and you think, yeah,
Yeah.
okay, I might go. It's not really my cup of tea, but I'll go anyway. Gets me out of the house.
Yeah.
So, and that's where you're
Yeah.
going to meet this man. And right from the very beginning, it's a really nice connection. I feel that the two of you will really bond, and there's lots of laughter, lots of fun. And I think it's going to move into a very, very serious relationship. And, you know, within 6 to 8 months, the two of you are talking about a long-term future together, you know, like moving in together and, you know, really starting a life together, which is great. But he's got a lovely sense of humor, and he makes you laugh, and that's a good thing.
Yes, that sounds very hopeful. I hope. A lot of times I hear you need to be at a certain place at a certain time. Is that,
No.
or is it just going to
No.
happen? I'm just going to.
No, I don't believe that. I believe the universe creates the opening at precisely the right time for when we're meant to meet somebody, whether it be that you get a flat tire, you go to a funeral, you go to a wedding, or you just go down to the grocery shop. If that's the time that you're meant to meet Mr. or Mrs. Perfect, that's when it'll happen. So, no, you don't have to be somewhere at a certain time. Okay, Bonita, that's where we're going to leave you there. So we're going to talk with Robin in Savannah in Georgia in the USA. Are you there, Robin?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have a question I can work with, please, Robin?
My question is I'm extremely happy right now in my current relationship, and I was just wondering what you could see moving forward.
Well, I don't think that's going to change. I think the relationship will continue to grow and blossom, and the two of you sort of really allow each other to be individuals, as well as the relationship being, you know, very close and very connected. The one thing that they were showing me is there, or has there been a conversation about maybe making modifications to where you're living or the potential of moving? Because they're showing me changes around where you live.
Possibility. It just depends, because currently we're living in two separate households.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, then no, that's not going to be. There's going to be the coming together into one household. So there's definitely change. I sort of felt as if they were showing me somewhere new. So I'm going to stick my neck out here and say I don't think he's going to live at your place and you're not going to live at his. I think there's going to be a place that's going to be ours.
Okay.
And that to me seems to be right. It's like it's something we can do together. You know, it might not be perfect, but it's something we'll work on together as a project. So he's a really, really nice man, isn't he? I think he's sort of hesitated to sort of take the relationship to that next level, but I think he's very close to it now. By about August, I think the two of you will be sitting down having that conversation.
I don't know.
Well, that's what they're showing me. They're showing me the month of August, and I don't think it's 12 months away. So is one of you changing your job so that you would sort of be closer to the other one?
One of us did have a recent job change, though we're still in the same town.
No, okay. But I just sort of feel as if there's still something coming up. And they didn't show me for which one of you. If it's not a job change, then there's a promotion because there's excitement in the air around work as well. I can see nothing but happiness. I think everything's going to go really, really well for the two of you. You both seem to be on the same page. I think he's been the one that's been a little bit hesitant to take it to this next level of moving in together. And it's not because he doubted the relationship. I think it was just there were so many other things that have been going on that it was like, let's just take a breath and make sure that we're not rushing anything, that we're not missing a vital, situation or something that needed attention. And I think that's probably been wise. There isn't a person on the planet that hasn't been affected in some way by the changes that were thrust upon us with COVID. So, for many of us, it's like, let's just take a breath at the moment and just, regroup and then sort of, move forward again. But I really like him. I think he's a very, very nice man. And I see nothing but happiness for the two of you. There seems to be a lot of...
Great to hear.
They keep showing me a lot of singing, so I don't know whether you two of you actually really do sing or whether it's just they're showing me the joy in the relationship that, everything's just beautiful.
We actually karaoke often. So
Oh, do you? Oh, good. Oh, well, that's good then, because they showed me a lot of singing with a microphone, and I thought, well, are they saying you do a lot of singing, or is it just the joy of the relationship? Well, that's wonderful, because there's going to be a lot more of that, and he's just such a delight. He does little things that you wouldn't expect. He's just a real gentleman, and that's really nice.
yes, ma'am. Hmm.
It's very nice to see a gentleman. I don't often see them this day and age, but it's the little things that I think make a relationship so special, like the things that you don't ask somebody to do that they just do because they love you. And that's what I see with him. He's just a loving, caring man, and the two of you are going to flourish together. You really have. You've flourished already, but there's even more blossoming to come.
That's exciting. Thank you so much.
You're very, very welcome. That's where we're going to leave Robin and her beautiful relationship. And I know for many people around the planet that, love sometimes seems to elude us, and we sort of daydream about what we see in, feature films or on the telly or something like that, and think if only I could find love like that. We all have the opportunity to find love. I think the thing is that for many of us, we go into relationships and we forget to grow. We forget that what might have attracted us to someone when we're in our teenage years isn't necessarily the type of relationship or the type of person that we need as we mature. We do grow, we do change, our expectations change, and what we need out of a relationship changes also. So we need to sit down and be very brutal and very honest with ourselves about what we seek in a new relationship, if that's what's on the agenda for you. So this week, I want to leave you with a song that I think is probably one of the most beautiful songs ever written. And for many, many people, they sort of hear this song and they just stop in their tracks. They just melt. And it's by Whitney Houston, and it's The Greatest Love of All. So until next week, enjoy Whitney. Bye for now.